Welcome to the tech capital of the world. It's the last show for this week, Kevin. We got Thanksgiving coming up. Are you eating turkey this week, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I normally do. So, my wife's a vegetarian. There's only us, so I normally do chicken. I know it's a weird thing for like Thanksgiving, but
No, it's okay. Chicken's good,
that's
man.
what I normally do. I don't want to buy a whole turkey. Like turkeys are massive, right? It's a lot of food. But yeah, Thanksgiving week, which Thanksgiving week also means deal week too, because it's like
Yeah,
of the year this
exactly.
week, so it's kind of nice. So we have Black
I'm
Friday,
looking
like
at the
Cyber
deals right
Monday.
now on Black
Oh,
Friday deals. Have you got
they all
anything on
kind of
your eye?
merge together though, don't they? These days, it's like Black Friday was like the traditional like day here in the US where you would go to like physical stores, right, and do shopping. That's kind of like
Yeah,
died away a little bit, and it's got replaced by the
yeah,
e-commerce stuff, which traditionally was Cyber Monday. So now it's like it's all got melded together. So we have this like 4-day sales on stuff.
right. I saw where
So
Target's no longer going to open physical stores on Thursday, which I think is a good thing.
I saw that. So they only started doing that a few years back, really, didn't they? They were never.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving wasn't the day they were actually open on. They started doing that 2 or 3 years ago, I think. And like they normally
yeah,
open on the Friday. They were closed Thursday, opened on Friday. So then they started opening Thursday. Now they're like, yeah, we're closing forever on Thursdays. They should never say forever. I mean,
yeah.
but
They
you
say
know,
this year we're doing it.
they should just say this year we're doing it. Yeah, but I get the
Yeah,
idea. I think retail employees should have the day off. It's kind of sucks that they don't because that Friday is
yeah. I think
really
so.
busy for them. Historically, it's been
Yeah.
really busy for them.
And plus,
So
with online ordering, you can pretty much really don't even have to go in the store anymore.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly. I mean,
unless
I
they
don't know,
want to
man.
make you come to the store to get the actual
Which
television or whatever that you can't get anyway.
which
So
right, which they still do sometimes, right? Some stores still do
yeah,
that. So yeah, um, yeah. Somebody says there's some feedback issue on our mics. I don't. Did anybody else hear any feedback issues on the mics?
is it me? Is it just
No,
me?
it says it's on both. It says
Okay.
major echo on both mics. I don't hear it. I'm monitoring it and I'm monitoring the master and I don't hear it. So
Yeah.
if it is, it's going out somewhere on the tool. I'm not sure. Anybody have any audio issues? Let me know in chat. Please, that would be awesome.
Other
Um,
than Austin's the one having problems.
Austin is saying he has a problem, so I just want to make sure I'm not doing something strange here. I don't think I am. I think it's all right.
Hey, so if you got a burning question, just hit super chat. We're gonna ask a lot of questions today. Thanks for showing up. Make sure you like, subscribe, give us a good like there. Um, you know,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that we have our downvotes, we can't see the counts. Y'all can't, we can, but so we haven't had our one downvote yet, Kevin. So that's good.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. So, hey, Austin, if there's something going on, maybe it is on your end. I'm not sure, or maybe it's fixed itself. Not sure. So, yeah. Yeah. Not sure. Oh, it said it was me. My bad. Okay. See, Austin, you had me running around like trying to fix stuff that wasn't. See, that's why I don't go run around and fix stuff when somebody says something. I'm like, are you sure? That's funny. But yeah. So deal week. So I found one good deal that I kind of like. Was this one. Verge was talking about it, but this 49-inch Samsung Odyssey monitor, which is like my dream monitor. So I have a Ultrawide, right? I went Ultrawide last year. So from having two screens prior, I went to one Ultrawide, but it's a 30-something Ultrawide. This is a 49-inch Ultrawide. Pretty much, I think this is the biggest one you can get.
Jeez, I
But
don't know if I would like that.
really? I think you'd like
Eh, You think so?
it. Yeah, I think so. It's
All
it's the
right.
same as having those two monitors, but it's seamless, right? You don't get the seam down the middle. So it's
Right.
like
You got to
it's
figure
more
out your
similar.
docking and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do. You have to figure out, yeah, like screen sharing can be kind of weird. If you share the whole
Yeah.
screen, obviously to somebody who doesn't have an ultra
Right.
wide monitor and you share to them, then it's like, it's tiny, tiny. So you end up sharing like apps. And I tend to run stuff like right now, if you can see my whole screen, it's like I have 50-50. I have half of
Windows.
it on one screen and one on another. Yeah, so it's like having
Yeah.
two monitors, but I just split the screen. But when you're gaming or something, you get that whole like, it's like immersed in it. It's kind of cool.
Right.
I don't know. It's a pretty good price for a monitor. $400 off. They were
It's a
$1,400
giant
on
monitor.
1,000. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good on Amazon. So it's a 5120 by 1440. So and a 240 hertz refresh rate too, which is nice. For the
All right.
gamers out there. So oh
So
look,
put the link down there for me.
I
If you
launched
want to,
Destiny
Kevin.
2 in
Okay.
HDR. Look, you can. There you go.
Yes, that's the only reason you do it. It's because of Destiny 2. So,
You just want to play Destiny in the widest thing possible with the most amount of pixels possible.
right.
So yeah. Here we go. N17 Hero says, how do you find ultra-wide versus 2 monitor productivity? I like it. So I've traditionally always had 2 monitors. You have 2 monitors now, right? But
I have 2 monitors, 2 24-inch monitors on my desk. What I was thinking about, just to tell you my special circumstances, I use Parallels on a Mac. So a lot of times when I'm teaching, I have 2 monitors, one I'm screen sharing and one's on the Mac. But there's sometimes where I'm also looking at something in the Windows Parallel side and on the Mac side. So it's kind of I don't know.
That's where the use case might be different. Yeah, I think also if you are screen sharing a lot, like I could see that being a thing. Like I have this screen share running here, for what we're doing right here, but it's like basically all I'm doing is sharing part of my screen. So when we get this here, this is just part of my screen. So I had to set this up to be like, I can basically, if I drag this window around, it's just part of my screen. It's not the whole screen. So that's kind of like it's kind of weird, but you get used to it. I like
so
it. I don't think I'm going to go back.
I'd have workarounds.
There's workarounds for having dual monitors, right? So it's like you just have workarounds for having these ultra-wide monitors. And you buy well, at least in Windows, you have built-in sort of screen docking capabilities, right? So, or window docking capabilities. So you can drag something to the left of the screen or to the right of the screen, and it takes up 50% of the screen. And then you drag another app into the other half, and it works great. Like it just splits the screen. There's apps on the Mac that can do it as well, that can arrange windows, and you even on Windows machines too, you can get apps that'll arrange them in a more complex, so you can do quarters or whatever. So there's software for it. It's cool.
So one thing we can announce, maybe, is it Thursday yet? We will announce something on Thursday on Twitter. Is that what we're going to do for our Black Friday sale?
Probably, yeah. We decided,
Okay. All right.
Yep. We'll do that.
So if you're watching this and, just a few of them, just pay attention to Twitter. We have a Black Friday sale. But we did release a T-shirt in case you just wanted to get something for your significant other, the Just Code It T-shirt.
Yeah, which I'm trying to order for us, but I'm having an issue with them.
Can't even get one,
I can't even get one. Yeah. Let me. I'll pull it up here. So, go. It's gonna work.
All right, we'll say hello to some people while you're pulling it up there. So if you.
Yeah, that might not be working. We'll have to come back to it. I don't know why. Store might be down.
Yeah.
Oh no, there we go. I got it. There we go.
There you go, man.
So put
Look
up
at
the
that.
shirt.
Thing is awesome.
I'll put the link in chat
Just
here in a
code
minute.
it.
So we made a Just Code It shirt. We were talking about something last week, and we were like, "Oh, we should like do that thing like that sports brand that we won't name." Make it. I don't think anybody's done like a decent Just Code It shirt. So like, oh yeah. So we looked, and I was like, "No, there's no real good ones." So I'm like,
"There's no real good ones."
Just
so
make
like
our own
we made
and
it.
the logo on it. So yeah. So we're waiting on ours to come in. We had to order them. It's taking a minute to order.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants that, the link is down in chat.
Cool.
There right now.
Perfect for Thanksgiving to wear to your Thanksgiving feast. The Just Code It T-shirt. That's what you need to do.
Exactly. Let's see. Ridge Racer's using a 55-inch TV as a primary monitor at 4K. So here's my question about that. Do you have that like right in front of you, like a monitor? So my monitor is like, I don't know, 1.5 feet from me, and it's big enough, right? It's a 30-something inch ultra wide one. I can't imagine sitting that close to a 55-inch TV. And
what's the refresh rate on that 55-inch TV?
Yeah, and do you notice the pixels?
Yeah.
Is it like that? I guess that's my concern. Like, if it's 4K, I know that's a high resolution, but when you get close to it, do you see it or not? That's because I've thought about doing something like that too, and I've thought about mounting a TV above my monitor here, and it's a little bit further back as like when you're video editing, right? It's nice to have a secondary monitor to like view stuff back on. So I thought about having the ultra wide and then sticking a TV up there too to view stuff back on, like a little bit of a distance.
Yeah, I would. You could take the the preview window and shove it up there.
Exactly.
Or the output
window. So the output window, the preview window, so you can like kind of when you're watching it back, you watch it back kind of up there. So yeah.
That's how they do it. That way you can put the stadium seats behind you for the producers to watch you edit.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So okay, cool. 120 hertz, 2-3 feet away. Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
And you like it? I mean, I'm assuming you do. You can't tell me it sucks.
He's gonna say I hate it. I'm getting another one.
Yeah, exactly. Like no, I hate it. Actually, it sucks. But that's what
he probably would say something like, "Yeah, I don't like it. The only thing I don't like about it's not a 75-incher." So that's what it is.
Right. Speaking about TVs too, I know. So Black Friday is always a time for TVs to go on sale as well. Have you noticed like obviously the trend in TV is always getting larger. So right now, like it seems like sweet spot TV size, it used to be 55, then it went to like 60 something. Now we're in the 70s, and like
we're in the
83-inch TV is like a norm now. It's kind of crazy. Like I'm trying to convince my wife we need to switch the 65 from downstairs to an 83, but it's not going well.
It's not happening, right? Maybe you'll get it for Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring you something.
Maybe
that wouldn't fit under the tree. That's like bigger than the tree.
Right. It's like it won't fit on the stand. I'm like, we don't need the stand. Like we'll wall mount this one on the. Like it's fine. I've got all the answers to all the objections, but it's not going well. Clara, that's what you code from the couch. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. TV. Okay. If you do have questions, we'll do usual Q&A today too. We didn't get to do one last week. We were off one day, and then we came back and was having
I lost my voice.
Some voice issues.
Lost my voice last week, so
which is back. So
it's back.
Yeah, so we only jumped on briefly last week, so we'll do as many questions as we can. So throw them in chat. I will queue them up. We will get to them. If you want to jump the queue, you can always super chat, and I will do those as they come in, as we normally do. So let's start out with Daniel's question here. It's a Coder Foundry question. There's an option in Coder Foundry for people outside the US.
Yeah, we have both options. So it's obviously self-paced course. You can take it from anywhere in the world people are. And then we have people attending our in-person virtual, what we call in-person virtual, from all over the world too. So you can just call in and do it. You do have to be on our time zone. So we're Eastern Standard Time Zone. So we've had people from Australia. We've had people from Qatar, South Africa. They've been all over the place, and they just have to hit us on our time zone. So we always tell them that ahead of time.
Yeah, for the virtual class.
In Australia, you're exactly 12 hours different than us, so you're going to be, that's a third shift for you. So that's kind of how it works. You can just basically just call in. We'll give you all the details of pricing and that kind of stuff for outside the U.S. So, but yeah,
obviously the self-paced you can do from anywhere.
Whenever you want, and to be on your own pace. But if you want instructor-led training, which we do, and then you want to learn .NET 6 in January, that's the place to be. Just hit us up in January. That one is filling up, though. So if you're worried about doing something in January, just go ahead and start applying now, because we're going to run out of, December's right around the corner, and then we'll close it out here in a couple of weeks. So let's talk about our scholarship program too, Kevin. We haven't.
I was just going to pull that up. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. I was literally just pulling that up. There we go. We do have a scholarship for the self-paced course.
Yeah. So we're giving away 5 copies of it for a year. We'll also work with you. It's more like Scholarship Plus. I'll meet with you as you build things and help you, give you feedback and this kind of stuff. Some of the instructors can help you get through some problems, and that kind of stuff will help you a little bit. So if you can win the scholarship, I think it's a good deal for you for 1 year. And it should be more than enough time for you to get cranking on that. And that's available to anyone on the planet. So just apply and take our quiz, apply, and then we'll select 8 or 10 of those for finalists, and then we'll pick 5 from that.
Yep.
So
and you still have until December 7th.
December 7th.
So you still got a couple of weeks here to do this.
Yep.
So
kind of cool.
Supported by our friends at
Special thanks for Paytail Analytics, or Apex Analytics, and Paytail Communications for supporting this. Great partners here in Greensboro, and fantastic places to work at if you're looking for a role.
Yep. I will throw that link in chat as well. too. So anybody that's interested in applying for the scholarship, you can do that down there. And if you think like, maybe it's not for me, just apply anyway. Like, you never know. You don't know how we're gonna pick.
Yeah.
So just apply. You
never know. We don't even know who we're going to pick yet. So
we don't. We have not gone through them yet. So yeah.
We'll go through them in December.
Yeah, we'll go through them once it finishes up. Give everybody a fair chance. Okay. Julio, thanks for the question. Says, what do you think of using .NET Core for Web3? Oh, interesting. We may have just made a video that's probably going to come out tomorrow that has a little bit of this in it.
So what I think right now, I think it's really new. So like what I'm looking at right now, researching R&D on Solidity contracts. And so there are .NET wrappers around all of this kind of stuff. So we'll just see how that really shakes out. Hey, thanks, Austin. Thanks a lot. Oh, you didn't have to pay us for the false alarm.
Not at all. That's funny. That's funny. We'll do your question here in a second.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, look at that. It goes
yeah, just
I gotta fix that.
Hit it and come back.
Yeah, I'll fix it. No, go ahead. You can still answer.
So I think that with Web3, I think it's still evolving in what we're doing, building things on blockchain. If you don't know, we're talking about blockchain development. So Ethereum development does have .NET wrappers around it, Solidity as well. So there's things you can do building out applications. The thing that you're going to learn about .NET applications is, or Web3 applications, is once you solve the blockchain-y part of it, you're still going to build a lot of web surrounding those kinds to give yourself a UI and those kind of things. So you're still going to be building a website in and around this, whatever you're doing with the blockchain, whatever your app is. So even if you're just minting like NFTs for like pictures of cartoon whales, you still need a UI of some sort that you're going to use a website to do that before it happens. So I think it's pretty good. All right. But I do think .NET Core is definitely going to put you in place of doing all that kind of stuff. I think it'll serve you well. All right, cool. Well, let's put up Austin's tweet there, or his comment.
Yeah.
Not his tweet, but his comment.
Go. Okay, so first not a problem. So as a student in a self-paced course, advice on learning about Web API and other heavier backend .NET dev.
So we're going to definitely release learning Web API soon. That's going to be, hopefully we'll have something out there .NET 6 this year, if not early next year, as soon as we get it recorded and built out. So we'll be building things in and around Web API, and that'll be the first release. We'll do multiple things in that. Heavier backend .NET, I don't know what you mean by that, so maybe you can elaborate. Maybe more of a database other than what we're doing with the bug tracker, but maybe. So I think be curious to see what you're thinking about. Maybe we can take that as a to-do list on our side.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Thank you for the Zoom chat. Appreciate it. Dennis says, hey, this is perfect timing. He's got a job as a junior .NET dev. That's awesome. For a US company from Kenya. That's super awesome. Congratulations, Dennis.
Yeah.
Coming from a Flutter developer experience.
Nice.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying. I'm glad to hear that, that you're in Kenya and then you're working remote in the US. You know, and I don't want to call this out, but a lot of times people, and I think you're a perfect example of it, where you just like, you take your circumstance and you just learn, get the skills and overcome all of those things. Where I meet so many people that look at everything as a roadblock. Whereas I was talking to a guy, he's like looking at California as a roadblock for him. I'm like, dude, California is not a roadblock, man. Like, you know, like, I mean, yes, it has higher taxes and, you know, maybe you don't like something about it. I don't know, Hollywood or whatever, but like, it's not a roadblock for you. Basically, we live in this great environment where the skills trump all the other things that traditional barriers that people put in front of employment. And so now there's such a demand that they can't, you can't use those traditional barriers that you normally have because you just won't find people. So you need to find people, you need them to code, you need them to build solutions. And so Dennis, congrats, man, working remote from Kenya. That's awesome. You know?
Yeah,
and it's
that is very cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Peaky Peaky. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Could be Picky Picky.
So,
Paid
Pinky,
internship or
what I
entry
would,
job?
yeah, you know what I'm going to say here. Which one pays more? That's what I
Right.
would do.
Yeah.
And then which one gives you, you're going to learn the most on and that kind of stuff. So, like, if all things being equal and they both pay the same, then, hey, I would take where you're going to learn the most at. And then what am I working on is the other thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's any difference between a paid internship and an entry level job in the U.S.
No, there's really
Whatever
not. I
they
was
want
just
to
going to
call
say,
them, they
like, what do
call
you
them. As long as you
exactly?
get paid,
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
So the internship may have an end to it, where
I
the
guess
entry
that's the
level job may
I guess
not.
that's the thing. Yeah, the internship may
So
be
you may
for a
have.
finite time.
So then I would pick the entry level job over the paid internship. So, but if there's something about this internship that you really, really, really like, and you like the company and the work and that kind of stuff, that could trump other things. But I think you should always be being paid, and it looks like you would be in both cases. So, hope that helps.
Yep, that's good. That's good. Not a question, but Lewis just says, "Hey, not necessarily a new developer, but I found your videos pretty informative and enjoying the Discord chat." Awesome, thank you, Lewis.
Nice. Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you for being there. And if you're
There's a
not a
lot of
new
people
developer
in
too,
Discord.
there
You
is. Yeah,
guys are
yeah.
always in there
And
talking.
if you're not a new
So,
developer too, obviously hanging out there. If you see somebody, help them, teach them something. That's
yeah.
kind of if you're an experienced developer, it's good to go there and share your knowledge. We like that. So thank you for being a part of the community. We appreciate it. Let me see. What is Troy saying? Troy says, was asked recently to explain Solid, when and why to use specific design patterns, etc. Will you guys have a series on interview questions like this?
Yeah, we're working on that. We do go over that currently right now in the in-person, where we have a whole discussion in and around interview questions specifically around Solid. If you're in the self-paced course, I don't know if you're not. I'll talk to Rainer, and maybe we'll do Solid as one of our Friday sessions, where we can just bring those out and go over Solid.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I think we've been doing a lot of code stuff. We've also been experimenting with just lecture stuff and apparently people like it when we just lecture on the different things. So
Yep.
I think we'll do that on one of the Friday sessions, where we can talk about interview questions particularly, and then talk about Solid. Would be a good thing.
Yeah, I like that. We do have we kind of have a placeholder in the course too. We will eventually be adding it there. We
will
have
be.
plans to add a whole module around that and do a whole bunch of stuff around that. We may do more than just the basic stuff too. We've thought about it being a separate product that's kind of bolted on as well, that you could just kind of maybe
so we're thinking about maybe making a whole product that's just around prepping for interviews, but we got to figure out like what that looks like and make sure it has significant value.
Yep.
And we'll do that. But definitely we can answer some of those questions. But hey, you know what? What I would love to do, if you want to, send in your interview questions you're getting, and I would love to like see kind of what they're asking, and then we can help you answer those. So that'd be kind of cool.
Definitely. Hey, while we're talking about this, do you want to talk about that your Twitter interaction over the weekend with your offer for help?
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up.
Calling out a name, but it's like, I think this is worth talking about.
One out, and so I'm hoping that you're watching and you're listening. So, like in general, when I've been watching a lot of job searches with a lot of people, and these are some CF students, and I'm trying to figure out like why do some CF students succeed, what others don't.
Right.
And I do see, and then I look at people on Twitter and on LinkedIn about specific people says, hey, I'm struggling in my job search and this isn't working and blah, 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 boot camps don't work and that kind of stuff. And I'm really looking into all those people trying to figure out like, what is it? Because I know this is for sure that so many people succeed. Yeah. There's got to be a common thing of why they don't succeed. Because when I applied to a job 650 times and I didn't get any callbacks, and this is what I want to give you hope. I promise you, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Now that doesn't feel good, but it should give you hope. Like, oh, you just mean I need to change up some things, and I'm like,
something you can fix.
You need to change up the things. Like, so I think that's what it is. So like, it's just like anything else that you do and that you fail at it repeatedly. You can look at society as the problem, and you can look at no one hires junior devs, for example, as the problem, or you can look internally and say, what could I do to better align my skills and the things that I know in the marketplace so that I can get more success. And that's kind of where I lean. I lean towards like, what can we do to fix it, instead of me trying to like say that I need to fix the global economy or something like that. And things
Right.
that I just can't ever fix, I can't control. And I do think people sometimes look at the failure they're having and then they blame that on society or this or that. I'm not saying it's perfect, it's not, but like, instead of trying to say, how do I overcome those issues? And that's why when I hear stories like Dennis, who's in Kenya, who's working remote in the US doing .NET, and I'm like, okay, so now I want to talk to Dennis to see, what did he do? How did he get
Right.
it?
Why was that success?
What was his road to success? Because he did it. And I would say this, and this is no slam on other countries in the world, but like, if you live in the US, you have way more
You have an
advantages to get
advantage.
a remote job than anyone else, especially in other countries around the world. And, you know, maybe something like Kenya, because you have time zone differences, you have just a lot of differences, but Dennis found a way to overcome all of those and get a job. And I think that is encouraging to, should be everyone here. And so when I see people on Twitter, sometimes I will engage with them. And one guy wrote this really long story, you know, multiple paragraph story about his family, and he needed food and all these kind of,
Yeah.
this really sad story. And he's trying to break in as a software dev, and he couldn't
Yeah.
because he's applied to 100 people. And I just responded back to him and said, hey, I'll look at your portfolio. I'll give you some help. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you can go see exactly who I post to. But I didn't hear anything back from him. And I wanted to take it offline because I just wanted to work with him directly to see, what are you doing? How's your search been going? And then like, how can I give you some advice and help you change some stuff? But I didn't hear anything back. And so I think a lot of times we would rather sit there and just rail against society instead of like, what can I do to fix it? So here's what I'm seeing commonly that I see a lot of times. So specifically, we looked at the person that wrote the article about 350. She applied 350 times out of the
The
bootcamp.
Business Insider
I got a
story.
job 6 months later.
Yeah.
I noticed a couple of things, and this is not no slam on her, but I'm telling you right now that when you went and looked at her Instagram account, it wasn't a developer Instagram account, right? You know,
Right.
so like, it's like she wanted to be a model, and I get that. You know, she's pretty and all that kind of stuff. I get that, but when you're looking for a job, you've got to like take that social media presence and change it and mold it to where you look like a developer, and that's what I want to portray. And so, and this even comes down to resumes, where I've seen resume tweaks for people that we give out and go, well, I can immediately look at that and tell you why you're not getting callbacks. And here's the one tip that I would give everyone out there if you're looking right now. If you have developer experience on your resume that doesn't list the finite stack of stuff that you're using, they will discount every single thing that you wrote in there. You could say, work on an order entry system, fix bugs, fix tickets, or whatever. And if it doesn't list, used ASP.NET, MVC, C# or Java Spring or React JS or whatever, merge stack, then they'll just assume that it's not what they're looking for. And you won't even get a callback. You get what's called the soft no, because your experience doesn't line up with what they're looking for. And that's why we always say all the time is pick one thing to learn it really well, build projects in that, and then interview in that stack. Because if you try to cross interview, it doesn't work. I would bet, and Dennis is probably here and he can probably tell us, I would bet Dennis said he came from a Flutter background, but then he got a .NET role. But I would almost bet that he built something in .NET and showed it off during that interview, or showed that he could do it. Now, maybe it's a completely internship and they said, hey, Flutter's good enough for us, we'll train you on the other stuff. I really don't know. But if you want to improve your chances, you want to make the most opportunities that you can, align the stack, the things that you learned with your job search, and I think you'll have better choices. Second, don't post overly negative things on social media while you're looking. Don't be, I'm hungry without food and all of these things, and I can't do this, and everyone sucks, and recruiters are terrible, and we need to fix the job hiring process, and you haven't worked as a job. What it does is it turns you off as a candidate. Instead, be positive and think, man, I like to code. Here's what I'm building. Here's the things that I have. And like, this is amazing as I go through and, you know, learn. A lot of people subscribe to this idea of learn in public. But that also doesn't mean that you post every single thought and failure that you have out there in public too. All right. So you have to craft a personal persona that I am a developer and I'm passionate about building things. I'm passionate about coding and I like coding so much. I do it for free on my own. I would love if someone paid me, but like in general, I'm going to keep doing this. I think that's how you do it, instead of like saying that I'm poor, destitute, and nothing's working and no one will hire me if someone would just give me a chance. That never, ever moves the needle for people. People want to buy into people that they believe can help them do the stuff they need done at their company. And so I think that's what moves the needle, is I think overall positivity. I don't know. That's my rant for the day. So like, but if the guy is still out there and you saw me on LinkedIn, dude, reach out to me. I think I can help you out. I really, really do. I really believe that there's something fundamentally wrong in the search and the way you're being presenting yourself, that we can help you out. And a lot of times it's also could be the projects are just too basic. We see that a lot where like, of course, it's like the hardest thing you have is the to-do list. You probably need to step your game up. And while you're looking, still continue to look, build more complex projects. You know?
We talk about this a lot, but it's not about doing the bare minimum amount of work in your thing. It's about showcasing what you can do. Your app needs to be better than a to-do list. Not saying you shouldn't make a to-do list. You should totally make a to-do list, but that shouldn't be your shining app.
No,
it's part of your learning process.
If that's all you can make right now, I get it.
Right.
But take that and move it forward while you're looking. Keep improving. Keep making it bigger. So that to-do list can turn into a grocery shopping list. It could turn into a recipe storage device. It can turn into an address book. There's a lot of things you can take a to-do list and just step it up, and then it shows a lot better. Anyway, I hope that helps. So hopefully, we got some more questions here. So
we do.
That's my rant. So like we can help you out.
I like it.
I like it. We're going to be talking about this tomorrow too on the video. So like in general, I think this is a fundamental shift in the way things are working, and I think we need to pay very close attention to .NET MAUI. Now, I'm on the Microsoft fanboy, fan site camp, or whatever you want to call me. I'm on that side because I really like what they're doing, but I think Google's doing very similar things with Flutter. I do not know at this point whether that's going to address Mac OS on the desktop or not, but I would imagine it will because of what Microsoft is doing. But in general, cross-platform development, I think, is really coming close to where write once, run anywhere is becoming a reality. And a lot of people think, oh, that's not going to happen. That's exactly what .NET MAUI is. And it runs on the 4 platforms. And even, like I've said before, there is a community project run on Linux. And then when you throw Blazor in the mix, you can also run it as a native web app, or run that, or use HTML to build that and run that on the desktop as well. So it'll run on both mobile devices and both desktops. Now, what's important about this is the coming screen shift, which we think is from the AR and VR. And if glasses come out, and that's where everyone starts looking at websites or apps or anything like that, guess how you're going to build it? You're going to build it with something like .NET MAUI. And that's why I'm so bullish on it. Not about what it does today. What it does today is like ridiculously cool. But once we really have a new form factor, the question is going to come, how do we build apps for that new form factor? And .NET MAUI is going to be a big role in that.
It's designed just to do that, isn't it? It's designed to deliver to multiple platforms. It does that right now. It's just adding one other OS to deliver to, one other piece of hardware to deliver to. That's
whatever that's going to be. And if Mac release iGlass, we know that's going to run on some kind of OS, more than likely iOS initially.
It's going to
or maybe they'll make a brand new OS. I don't think they will. It'll be some kind of iOS.
It's going to be iOS
that's run on the phone. Yeah, something like that. And I think that .NET MAUI will be right there, ready to go, that they could build apps that would run on that new device. And that's very, very powerful. So that's what I think about it.
Yes, we are hot on MAUI. And it's yeah, definitely. And it's I think if they said that, what did they say? Q2 2022. So we got to wait till at least April next year. April, May, June.
And I do think, and I could be wrong, but like the more and more noise about the iGlass is coming, Is that next year? I know I make jokes about it, but realistically, is that next year? It wouldn't surprise me if that's November of next year at Christmas time that they're going to announce something.
Could be.
With the announcements from Meta Facebook, that's what I call it now, Meta Facebook. I don't know why, but I don't know if the name's going to catch on. But I saw a commercial the other day about Meta. Their commercial still says "Buy Facebook" on it. It's kind of funny, but like,
yeah, weird. Well, I think we'll definitely see. So we'll see a new Oculus or whatever they're going to call it now.
Yep.
What is it called? Meta Oculus now? I forgot what they're calling it.
Yeah, Meta Oculus.
I think that's what it's called, right? But whatever their glasses are going to be. So we're on version 2 now. We'll see a version 3. I'm thinking they talked about this Pro version of this headset too. So we'll see at least I think a couple of different headsets from Facebook next year or Meta next year. And then I think we'll see. Maybe,
you'll see the HoloLens, whatever they're going to call it. Microsoft will come out
I think Microsoft will do something. I think we may see the next
headset. I don't know what they'll call it, but
we may see a Google Glass 2 come back. Not sure.
Yes,
but I think we'll see them all kind of hit at the same time, and that's going to be it's going to be a screen shift. Everyone's going to want these things. They're going to be just like the phones. They're going to be just like the phones were. It's going to.
And I think that you'll like instead of this with a screen, you'll just carry the CPU parts of it in your pocket.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a wireless connection between that and the glass. And they're working on how does that work. I don't think it's going to be a cable. I think it'll be
it's going to be wireless. It's going to be
some kind of wireless,
some kind of short range.
HDMI wireless or something like that, which currently exists anyway. We have it in our conference room, where we have wireless HDMI. So it's definitely possible to do.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's the technology, and I agree. I think it's going to be. These phones now are so powerful. They're nuts. They're very, very powerful. They can definitely run the screens on these things. It's just having the wireless connection to them. You don't have to have all the hardware in the glasses. This can just be like receivers and speakers in them.
Something like Oculus and HoloLens, where you've got the CPU and the storage and everything, and they become these big giant headsets like this.
Yep.
I think Apple will come out with something like this, and you'll just carry the CPU in your pocket.
Yep. I think that's the initial implementation of this for sure.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Yep. Let's see. N17 Hero says, can we use JWT with .NET Identity, storing users in Identity DB without using something like ident server and have the login page sector in a single page app?
No, you can't. So that's exactly what I'm working on right now. We're using 2 approaches right now. It's actually working. We just got to get recorded. So there's a couple of things. So if you want to store identities in your own database, we're going to call these on-premise databases, and use things like the way you did with MVC and ASP.NET Identity. Yes, you can do that. I have that working. JWTs, on the other hand, if you want to use JWTs, is kind of built into it. And then you can, we're going to show you how to do that with Auth0, a third-party auth. But you can also do really built in right away with identity with Microsoft's Azure framework. The reason we're not showing the Azure framework is because Auth0 has a great free plan, and it makes it easier for you to set up and get it testing and get it working. And so whereas you have to pay for the Azure stuff kind of right away, unless you own Office or something like that, it just becomes kind of complicated. So we're making it a lot easier. So, but you can do both, and we're going to show you how to do both here soon. Yeah.
There you go.
So no identity server. You basically, in general, you will scaffold out your database if you're used to the way the MVC works, and you're using those structures, the roles and claim structures and everything. You scaffold that whole thing out, and then we have the middleware that creates the token so that it's secured and that kind of thing, using us in a SPA or Web API backend. So, but there's not much information on it.
Okay, Lou says, as a product of a bootcamp in Nashville, they work, but you're right, there's a mentality problem. Bootcamps lay the foundation, but you have to keep learning. Yep.
So one of the things that I think is important, Lewis, to me is like, I'm a bootcamp operator. So if I say too much about this, they'll say, well, of course you're going to say that. You run a bootcamp. But what I do is I see why people fail and why people succeed. And let's say that you come to Coder Foundry and we had a bad 12 weeks or something like that, which we don't. But let's just say we did, and we sucked at doing what we do. I can promise you that if you went through the 12 weeks at any boot camp, you learned something. Okay. Assuming that you attended the classes. Now, a lot of people complain about boot camps, but they don't attend the classes, and people don't realize that that's a problem. So the second thing is about boot camps and college and university is boot camps are held to this like 99% success rate challenge. Like if you're somewhere below that, you're a scam. And I don't think that's true. I think that you can lay the foundation, learn as much as you can at your boot camp, whether you went to Coder Foundry or you went somewhere else. And let's say that you walk out of your boot camp with a subpar project, like it's just a to-do list, or you did Connect 4. That's kind of what you can get out of university anyway. So now what you have to do is take what you know and make it better. And guess what you can do coming out of most boot camps? I can't speak for everyone, but definitely coming out of Coder Foundry is now you can go to Udemy and watch a tutorial, and suddenly that tutorial makes sense. Like, oh, I see what they're talking about now. And so you realize right away, I've learned way more than I thought. Now I need to just expand my knowledge and where my deficiencies are. And you'll find out when you start interviewing, you'll figure out, okay, these are the questions that they're asking me. My boot camp didn't teach me that, therefore I can't get an interview. No, your job is to write down every one of those interview questions and study them, learn them, add to the knowledge base that you have until you're good enough to get a job. And I do see a lot of times people will get a 1 or 2 rejections and they just quit looking and then just come back and complain about the education or society in general. And it's like, you have to have a little bit more grit than that, you just have to keep looking. I'm not saying it's easy, man.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not magic. It's not. No, we have some people whose expectations of a boot camp are literal magic beans. They show up and eat them, and they come out one day and just like, oh man, and I just get a job the first day of leaving. Like,
and I've had students in the past tell me, "Where's my job?" I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to them like, it's I can't force anyone to hire you. Like that's not how this works, but I can help you get to the point to where you interview. And if you do your homework and you prep, you'll get a job. But if you don't come to class and you don't prep and you don't interview, it's really hard just to break. No one's going to like knock down your door and just hire you directly. So you have to you have to win an interview. But there is a distinct set of things that you can learn to be able to do that. You just have to put in the effort and time to do it. So I do think that, some people complain about things, and you need to really look and figure out, what am I going to do? So the way we do it at Coder Foundry is we teach each student differently based on where they're at. And so like, if you're coming in here with lots of skill and lots of like what I call the gift of gab, you can hold a conversation and you just tell somebody something and then they can just gab about it right away. Yep. Well, they tend to win technical interviews right away. Why is that? Because they can take the abstract question related to a concrete example by default. Most of us don't do that. They say, what is solid? And you're like, I can't remember what the S stands for. And that's
the answer. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's.
Whereas some other people can say, oh, I can do you one better. Let me show you where I use solid principles in this app I built. And bam, they're right over there looking at code. Yeah. And they answer the question, but in an indirect way with concrete examples. And people that do that win technical interviews. Whether they go to Coder Foundry or not, I've watched people interview, and that's the secret. That's the one thing that most people do that people discount. And then there's the other half of it, because we've went through the U.S. education system where we're taught to memorize everything. Yeah. And then they look at an interview as like a multiple choice question test. And they'll say, what is MVC? Model View Controller. What is OOP? Right. Well, what are the 4 principles? And they go bam, 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 bam. They never relate it to anything. And they just had to memorize these questions. And the ones that can abstractly take that question, which is an abstract question, relate it concretely, win. And that's where you got to quit complaining and just do your homework and do your work, and you'll break in. You will break in. Here's what I was to give you hope, Lewis, and whoever you want to talk to. I've had people pass Coder Foundry and not be able to break in. I've had people fail Coder Foundry and work at Microsoft.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is that? And the reason is the person that failed took the information that they had and could spin those into a technical interview and talk about just what they had.
Yep.
Whereas the ones that failed couldn't talk about what they did because they focused way too much on memorization instead of like, how does this totally work? And so, that's kind of what I think. Here's what I promise you. If you could build the blog and the bug tracker out of our self-paced course or in person, that's enough to get you a job for sure. That's why we designed it that way. That's why we did it. Is it complex? Yes. Is it big? Yes. But it's enough to get you a job. And so like, you just got to be able to talk about it after you go through the effort of coding it.
Yeah. Building it isn't just the only thing.
Twice or 3 times to get it.
Yep.
If you're that person, just say, I'm that person. Give yourself permission and time to do it and say, I need to do this more than once. I'm just not built the way some other people are. And that's okay. All we're trying to do is break in and get a job. That's all we're trying to do. Like, it doesn't matter that, you had to learn it 3 or 4 times, and we see this true in like professional sports. We love the person like Kurt Warner that's at a grocery store and suddenly becomes a quarterback, but like he did it at like 31 years old or 29 years old when it shouldn't happen. But like, he just kept doing it. Or there's a great movie, The Rookie, the guy that was like really old and became a major league pitcher for a minute because he just kept after it, I think Dennis Quaid movie, The Rookie, is a great movie, which to me, those movies tell me that I can overcome impossible odds and things like age and society and all those things that we see as roadblocks. We can, through hard work and determination, and can overcome a lot of those things. So,
yep.
Anyway,
got to put in the work.
Got to put in the work.
Very true.
That's it, baby.
Very true. And this is true too. We do see this a little bit. A lot of Steve Dead salaries and hop aboard. We try and look for that for sure, because we've seen that those people don't end up being successful because they have the wrong motivation. Your motivation can be money.
Yes,
I think we say that's okay. It can be money, but it shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
the only thing. If you hate this or literally can't do it, then it shouldn't be for you, regardless of how much money or little money it makes. It doesn't matter. So we try and look for the dedication part over the money part. If somebody says, like, if we ask somebody, like, why do you want to go to Coder Foundry, and the first thing is money, that can be okay as long as there's other things along with that. But if it's the only thing, it's generally a red flag.
Yeah, even for like really smart people that come into Coder Foundry, like really smart, like accomplished people that have like a degree and they do all these things. And then when I interview them to come into the boot camp, they can't understand why I don't let them in. It's because like they really don't have what I call a why you would do this, especially for people trying to switch careers. Like, you're already a successful lawyer. Why would you come in here and learn how to code? Let's be a lawyer, And people in my interview always look at me like, you're not trying to sell me this? I'm like, no, I'm trying to understand why you're doing this. Like, why in the world would you go through all of this effort when you already have a career set out? And they're like, well, it's about the money. And I'm like, okay, how much effort will you put in to get the money? And so I do think people say, hey, I want to make 6 figures. And then when you show them what they have to do, they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I mean, I just want the paycheck. I don't want to put the effort in, well, that's hard. I mean, so I think that's where people underestimate the amount of effort it takes. But for the few of us that think this way, the effort isn't that hard because it's fun to do. Right. You'd like the attention to detail. You like typing in the stuff. You like doing that, but if you don't, it can be very arduous. And that's where you see people shouting at the sky about JavaScript because it's not type safe. And you have to spell everything exactly correct. That's the way it works.
Yep.
You're
gonna love / hate it.
I get it. That's the way it is. Quit complaining about it. It's the language we have to know right now. So that's the way it works. Just do it. So
there you go. Let me see. If we go back to this one too. I was going to show this one next, actually. So if you're interviewing, here's another tip. Although this is a good one too. Don't complain about previous employers either. I've interviewed candidates and had them talk so negative about previous employers would not look good. 100%.
Yep. Soft skills, baby.
Yep. That's yes. I think people overlook this one
Everything,
too, though.
if
They
your
really
last
do.
job was great and rosy, and that's even
Yes.
if the guy beat you with a stick every day
You,
physically, you were
yep.
abused physically. You
Yep.
walk out of there and go, I learned a lot at that past place.
Exactly. You
You don't
turn
have to
every
tell them what
negative
you
into a
learned about.
positive. Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Your previous employers, you want your previous employers, like your experience there, to be great, and you want them to do well too. The more well they do, the better you look. If all of your previous
Exactly.
employers' companies like died, you can be like, did this guy, like, is he a jinx? This lady, did she like kill this company and everyone just
He's
went
the
to?
Grim Reaper for
They
companies.
exactly. They all like went away. No. You want them to be super successful, and
Yeah.
you want your time there to be building. You're right. Turn every negative into a positive. Don't ever say negative things about your previous employer. It's not going to look good for you. Let's see. Sage says, I'm debating on finishing college or just going the self-taught direction. I've learned more doing my own self-studies versus what my schooling has taught. What would you recommend?
I don't know. I would say, how close are you to finishing?
Yeah.
What are you learning in college? And can you do both of them?
If you're more than halfway, keep going.
Keep going. Like,
That's what I would say.
and then self-teach your stuff while you're going to school. Because what I will say this is, there is in the U.S. a society value placed upon a college degree. Now, I know I'm a bootcamp operator, but if you come to us, we can show you how to overcome that through the portfolios and things like that. What's crazy is we can also show you the same thing if you had a college degree. Like, you still need to build a portfolio, you still need to do the stuff that's coming out of the bootcamp for you to compete well to get an entry-level job.
Yep.
So they're kind of the same, but people do only interview people sometimes that only went to college. And so now I am seeing a shift as I talk to lots of employers every week, I see a shift where people are saying, we want bootcamp grads. I have seen that recently in the last 6 months. And I think that's because boot camps teach more hard-skilled coding skills versus data structures, algorithms, and logic. And it doesn't mean you don't need that, but you also need to know, okay, it'd be really good if you knew what ASP.NET was before you started. I mean, so that's right. Where the frameworks and the stacks and the things you interview with can also move the needle during an interview. Now, if you have both, you got college and I've got a rockstar portfolio, hey, you're doing really well. So if you're more than halfway through, just think about how much money you've invested in the college degree. Should go do it. If you're in your 4th year of college and you got like 6 classes to go, take the 6 classes. Man,
that's a definite no-brainer.
Take them online. What I tell people is, like, if you're just hating college and you just hate going, you're like, I can't take this any longer. But you just need 3 classes to graduate. Take the easiest 3 classes you can in an online format and just mail it in. You just need a C. Like, just get it to where you can get out. Get done, finish it. No one's going to ask about your GPA unless you put it on there.
I was going to say exactly that. Like, your GPA matters for like a split second. Like, once you get a degree, that piece of paper and that thing that you put on your resume is the only thing that matters after, let's say, about a year, right? After that first year, like, no one's going to ask for you, especially after your first job. Nobody's going to ask for your GPA ever. You're like, no.
Yeah.
The guy that, like, skated through and got straight C's and got the same paper as the lady that got straight A's and a 4.0, same piece of paper.
Same piece of paper. I mean, and it's famously, our second George Bush president was famously a C student in college,
right?
And he ended up being president of the United States. So, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think that, and you can say he was an idiot, you can say whatever, but he got there. So, like, I think that you should finish it up. I think you should do well finishing up, and then also you can self-taught something.
Yep. So Scott says the college degree is still a gateway for companies.
100%.
It is. Yep.
100%. But what I will say is if you see that and you're interviewing, Scott, somewhere, and they say, I only will hire 4-year degrees, what I always tell students to do is say, hey, understand that, and I totally get the value placed on that. Can you look at my portfolio and give me some feedback? Because college isn't in the cards for me. It's expensive, and I don't have 4 years. And if you have a rockstar portfolio, sometimes you can change the position of what they think.
Yep.
I will say this, there is a shift in the industry, though, where boot camps, a lot of the reputable boot camps, like Foundry and the bigger ones, are moving the needle with employers because, well, there's been hundreds of people from Coder Foundry working at these places. And so like now people are like, okay, they can do the job. So, okay, well, I'll take a look at them. And so I think you're seeing a fundamental shift in the way even college operates. So I do think what we're doing in the coding bootcamp world is this eventually going to be applied to things like other vocations like accounting, CPAs, and things like that, where you just need to know the skill about what we're doing. I don't need everything else. And how fast can I do that in a bootcamp setting? It hasn't happened yet, but I do know that that'll be a thing where they'll just kind of like make a vocation and just centralize on that skill that we need to know and then push people in the jobs that way. It's kind of cool. All right.
Yep. Okay. Let's do this one. We've got time for a few more here. Ryoki says, how important is social media presence under your real name? Skip putting too much details. I'm a bit worried about putting it out there because someone is harassing me in real life. Am I screwed? You can, I would put it out there in your real name, but also a lot of social media, you can block people as well.
Block people.
For me, I'm out there in my real name everywhere. I'm at Kevin Doyle on Twitter. I'm Kevin Doyle everywhere. Like harass me or not doesn't matter. Like I'll just block people.
I get tons and tons of stuff on the LinkedIn platform that I don't answer. I don't message them back. I only have a message them back if I feel the need to, and I don't look at it bad. I look at it as like that is spam mail coming to me, and these people are just shotgunning it everywhere. And if it interests me, I'll respond. But if it doesn't, I don't, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't get much harassment online. I don't get that. But also don't look for fights either on social media. So like,
right.
I stay away from stuff, like I'm not an activist. I'm not out there like power to the people. I'm not doing that. I'm more of like showing like in a positive way how positivity can help you win. And then you can do all the other stuff that you want to do. I mean, it's not that I don't have causes in my life. I do. I just don't put it out there like that, So I do think social media is very important. I think tech Twitter can absolutely get you a job.
Yeah.
It can also keep you from getting one.
And I think the thing is, it has to be in your real name.
100% necessary. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're invisible. So you have to put it out there.
Yeah.
And so having a social media account with a fake name, and then you want to use that persona to get a job, and then they realize that, hey, your name's not John, it's Frank.
It's an extra barrier, isn't it?
Yeah. They're confused about like, what are you doing? Oh, well, I just put that up there in case someone wants to reach out to me. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but at least have LinkedIn at this point, I think is important. You're not screwed.
Yep. Just be brave.
Yeah, be brave.
I know people are weird, but just block them.
Yeah.
And choose your social media kind of wisely. But I would go with Twitter and LinkedIn. You can definitely block people on those platforms.
Yeah.
If somebody does follow you, get activation. You get notices about people that do follow you and stuff as well, so you can actively see when somebody does. I mean, there's no way, if somebody's going to go out of their way and create multiple accounts and do all that stuff, it's like you're going to have more of a harder time. But it depends on how dedicated somebody is. But, I don't know. One of those things. Okay. Let's do this question here then real quick. Moonshot, how much HTML and CSS should we know?
A lot.
Well, enough to build stuff, right? I mean,
you got to build a web page. You got to know how CSS works. If you're, I would throw in CSS framework like Bootstrap would be very important to know how to do.
This comes back to your point before, though. Like, how much do you need to know? Is different.
Thanks,
Tyron, yes, thank you.
100%, baby. All right,
that's awesome.
That job.
Yeah, congratulations. That's very, very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Back to the HTML CSS question though. It's not how much you should know. Like, what do you mean by know? Like, do you recall that from memory? Because the answer to that is hardly any. Like, enough to just get you going, right? Because you can always just look stuff up. And the more you build stuff, the more stuff you won't have to look up. You don't have to know everything. Like, don't sit down with a book of just like the dictionary of HTML like tags. It's pointless.
W3 schools, like you're looking through all the tags.
Exactly. Like, just reading it is just kind of like, unless you're doing it for like academic purposes, just to be aware of some things that it can do. But certainly don't memorize it. It's just a waste of brain space.
So I do think for HTML, you got to know like, hey, it's HTML tag, it's the body. You get the head tag, you get the body tag. And then I think you can know something about semantic HTML markup. I think that's good. It's not. I know I'm gonna get. It's not necessary, but like it's good. I mean, like a lot of people tell you that I'm about to be like excommunicated from the development. It's necessary. You have to do that. You don't. You can put everything in a div tag and it does
It'll
work.
still work.
It's just not the greatest. But like you do see sites like that are like that. So, and then CSS, you should know like the basic selectors, like what an ID selector is, maybe what a class selector is. And then inside, what can you do? You can change the color, the fonts, but then when you go into like animations and fade in, fade out, like I don't think you need to. You just Google that stuff, look it up. Unless you're trying to do like really fancy things, and that's part of your job, and that's what you really want to do, you can embrace that and go really deep in that. But I would add in Bootstrap. Bootstrap still is probably the most popular CSS framework out there. I'd learn how to build sites with that. Yeah, and then learn how to modify that using CSS.
So I think what happens with Bootstrap too, if you learn Bootstrap layout is super easy. It means you don't have to learn technically. You don't have to learn grid and flex, right? So
yeah, so like
it's like it makes that part easier. Exactly, I mean, like, but it obfuscates that, right? You don't like it's just like you put a different class on it and it just works. But so but if you're going straight CSS and you don't put a framework on it, then you do need to learn something like Flexbox and CSS Grid.
For sure, how that works. And how
you need to know layouts. You need to, one way or the other, Bootstrap or native CSS, you need to understand layouts for CSS, period.
Yeah, and I think we do a good job at the self-paced course here where we go through in great detail the layouts. Like, in other words, the 9 layouts, the Bootstrap and the Grids project, where you go through the 9 different layouts. And you just a lot of use cases in there. It teaches you a lot about how to lay things out with Bootstrap. If you can get through all that, you can pretty much lay out anything. So it's kind of cool.
Yep.
Tyron got a job. That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's very, very cool. I love seeing that. Those are my favorite messages to get.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
And thank you for the super chat, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like refrigerators. People are weird. Just block them. The Kevin. You've been quoted now, man. You're a meme.
That's it. Oh, that's it. I'm gonna put that up there. Look, people weird, just block them. Hey, trust me, I've had my share of weird people like follow and say weird stuff to me. I'm just like, and block. They generally don't come back. I mean, I haven't had an actual like real stalker. It seems like Ryoku does have a real stalker, or somebody that's because it's here like pretty much. But again, just I don't know. I would go for it. Don't let that hold you back.
Don't let them people live rent free in your head. You know, like you just move on. You know, I've had people that have come after me. That's for sure. More so than social media and other things. But like you just have to like move on and just whatever, do your thing.
Yep.
Most people, if they'll eventually give up. I mean.
Yep. And your success will be your winning. Right.
Yeah, but you can block them. I mean, most of the time, most people don't have the platform to truly harm you anyway. There are some out there that really do have a platform out there, but for the most part, even with like an enormous social media following, there's only so much they can really do to you. You know.
See, look, Shane's my stalk. You just see this. I knew you were there, Shane. I knew you were there just watching the whole time, just lurking in the background. That's funny. Cool. So we won't be here Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. So we'll be back next Tuesday. Taking a couple of days out.
Yep. We'll have a video out tomorrow. Hopefully you like it. We it could be a little controversial, but like we think it's based in fact. Though.
Yep. Let's just say we're going to talk about JavaScript a little bit. So
yeah, maybe a little bit about JavaScript. Something about JavaScript. So somebody
might hate us for making this video.
The haters will come out in full force. But I think if you watch the whole thing, you'll know what we're talking about, and it'll make sense.
Yep. Yeah, cool. So we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll do another one of these. We will do a portfolio review coming up. I promise. Didn't have time to throw it together for today, but maybe we'll do that next Tuesday. We will do Tuesday or Thursday next week. I promise we'll do a portfolio review.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I think Cheddar's been asking us to do one, so we'll do another one.
Yep. And I'll put up the link.
Right.
So you guys can.
Yeah, put the link up. We'll probably tweet about it, and then we'll also put it in the community channel if you're a subscribed on YouTube, and that way you'll get notifications and how to do it.
Cool.
All right. Well, good luck. Keep coding, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday of next week. Have fun. Have a great Thanksgiving. Stay safe. See you later.
See you guys later.